My name's Silas Jones and I work for Clwyd. Some of you may have heard of us. We're a rural regeneration agency. And Robert Price was meant to be stood here. He was the Agri-Food Officer and Robert has moved on. And I'm actually the Renewable Energy Officer. So this is a whole new world for me, sort of, because I'm wearing two hats today. I also, as Yvonne knows, run a restaurant with my brother and sister. So I have some little knowledge of the food trade, so to speak. So Clwyd have funded several programmes to do with local food and food production and promotion of food and tourism within Denbighshire and Flintshire. So that's why we're here, or why I'm here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Clwydian food trail first. And then I'm going to talk just a little bit about the restaurant I run, which is a bit cheeky, but there is a link. The reason I'm going to talk about the restaurant is because we are also part of the food trail. I'm experimenting. This is Prezi, not PowerPoint, so it probably is going to go horribly wrong because there's two of us trying to work on this, but we'll give it a whirl. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. Can I ask a question? How many of you have heard of the Clwydian food trail? A few. How many of you who've heard of the food trail are from North Wales? Yeah, all of you. So those of you from South Wales and other places will not have come across it yet. However, if you flew on Etihad in July anywhere in the world, you will have heard of it, but we'll come to that in a minute. So if I introduce what the food trail is, so we can go to the first one. See if it works. Ta-da! Brilliant. So the food trail is a group of businesses involved in food and hospitality sector and producers. Bakeries and egg factories and cheese factories and delicious ice cream as you've tried today, and restaurants and cafes and bed and breakfasts and pubs and hotels, small guest houses really. And the food trail had its initial incarnation in about 2011, I believe, and it was literally meant to be a trail. So somebody would turn up in North East Wales in the Clwydian Range, which is an area of outstanding natural beauty, which you're sat in now, and they would go from from place to place as a tourism attraction. And it kind of didn't work. And the fundamental reason that it didn't work was, who wants to go and look at an egg factory when you're on holiday, or a cheese factory? And some of them weren't open and it just didn't kind of work. It didn't work. However, it's been reincarnated. And in the reincarnation, our aims are to increase the quality of the food offer in this area and to promote the area as an outstanding place for food. Because it's an outstanding area, an area of outstanding natural beauty, we've used the word outstanding. And to promote local quality food production. So it's to raise the standard. So two real principal aims: to get the idea out to millions of people that live in the northwest of England and have lots and lots of money to spare, and we're only like an hour away, to come here and spend money here because it's going to be a good experience. You're going to get good food in a fantastic environment. But we have to make sure there's good food and that they have good hospitality and it's okay and they have a good experience. Otherwise, I'll never come back. So that's why we need to promote local quality food production and also hospitality as well. So we'll go to the next one. And briefly, and if we can click on the link and see if it works, it does work. And if you can click on members, that would be even better. I'm going to talk about who we are. Just briefly, who are the food trail? So we have some primary producers. We've got on here somewhere, they're too small for you to see, but we have got an egg factory. It's just down the road, Clwyd. Some of you at the back will know who they are. We've got Arla Foods, which is Llandudno Creamery, which is down the road. And then we've got Llan, which is actually outside the area, but they're a really good company, so we shoehorn them in. Don't tell the Welsh Government. We've got Patchwork Pate, who sell pate all over the world, a bit like Roberts's. They export all over the world. And I guess most of you will have come across Patchwork at some point. And then we've got pubs and cafes and restaurants, all involved in this project. The old project didn't have anybody in the hospitality sector. The new project does. And in fact, the only people who turn up to the meetings are the people in the hospitality sector. And the reason for that is because those people see a direct benefit to them. And what those people in the hospitality sector are doing is promoting the food that they make with the primary products from the area. So it works. Because to be honest, your man with the eggs is too busy delivering eggs and feeding the chickens or whatever he does. And the Llandudno creamery people are too busy panicking and packing cheese and selling cheese. They haven't got time to work out how they're going to go out to the northwest of England and draw more people in and organise events. And we're going to go back to the Prezi, which will be, if you minimise that, just minimise the whole thing. Okay, next one. And again, it does work. This is where it gets more complicated though. So what have we been doing? Well, we meet and we chat and we have a nice cup of coffee and we have loads of lovely cake in everyone's different cafes and restaurants, which is always good. Always a bit tense though when you're the host and they come there, because I'm wearing my other hat and we have been the host, and they're trying your cake, and you know that in that room there are 7 people who make fantastic cake and they're there sort of digesting it and thinking about it and looking at each other and, oh God, are they going to think it's the worst cake? Anyway, there's a lot of that goes on. And then we have a bit of a laugh. But what have we been trying to do? So first things first, we need to get the message out there that there is this good food here. So there was a leaflet which had a list of all the people on it, and then half of them dropped out. So we got rid of that, and we now have a leaflet which you'll have in your thing, which if you can click on these, that will be marvellous. We have a leaflet which just has pictures of lovely food, all taken in all our local restaurants and things, and it has a little bit of a text about why to come here in it. It's quite generic. This will last for years, and it takes you to the website and to the Facebook page so that it doesn't go out of date, which is important to us. This is the cafe that I run as well, so that and you're going to be trying some of his pies when you go home, or before you get home maybe. Go to the next one. Probably. Yeah. So. No, not that one. We'll go to that one. So every year, I say every year, this is the first year it's really run properly. We put a calendar together, and it's a calendar of events. So Easter, Mother's Day, St. Dwin Wednesday, Valentine's Day, National Sausage Week or whatever it is, and every member gets it. And then we discuss what we're going to do for those things. So and then we advertise it on our Facebook page. So all the members have access to the Facebook page and can update. And I think probably the best one that we did was we did a hamper at Christmas. So last Christmas, and we're going to do it again this year, and all the members put in something into the hamper, and then we ran a competition on Facebook. People just had to like the page and share it. Huge response from a lot. About 50% of the response was from North Wales, but about 50% of the response was from the northwest of England. Chester, Manchester, Liverpool. Massive response, lots of engagement, people talking about the products that were going in there, people getting excited about would they get a chance, would they win they wanted the Christmas cake or they wanted the turkey or whatever it is they wanted, and that was really good and fantastically for us because we could see from the analytics that a lot of it was coming from the northwest of England, our key demographic, and that's the kind of thing we're doing. And we got over 1,000 people. It's gone down a bit now, but we had over 1,000 people join us literally because we did that, and so we've got to keep that up. And if we come back out of there and then go back to Prezi. What we've also been doing is doing lots of press releases. How am I doing on time? Lots of press releases and putting it out there that it's here. And that has resulted in an incredible amount of press. So if you can click on this one here, that would be fantastic. Put a press release out, and we had loads of journalists ring us up and say they wanted to come. And we had the usual, we had the Free Press and the Daily Post, which is absolutely superb. We had Etihad Airlines come. And we ended up in the in-flight magazine of Etihad Airlines, page 48 to 49, not that I can remember it, but in the month of July. So loads of members of the food trail, about 4 or 5 members, got a mention in Etihad Airlines in-flight magazine. I have a copy, not because Etihad Airlines gave me a copy, but because somebody walked into our restaurant with this. And I just think that is absolutely incredible. Somebody who was flying from Australia to the United Kingdom picked this up. They were coming to North Wales, admittedly anyway, but they came to find out about the food trail because they'd seen this somewhere, probably, I don't know, over where, I don't know, over the Middle East or somewhere. They saw that and they came, which is absolutely fantastic. If we can go back, that would be superb. We've had incredible coverage. We've been in the Manchester Evening Post or Manchester Evening News. We've been in the Sheffield Star. We've been in the Sun. We've been in the Daily Mirror. We've been on Mumsnet. We've been on all sorts of different things, which is fantastic. But it isn't going to change the visitor numbers overnight. Everybody who is a member of the food trail realises this is actually a 10-year project. And the membership will change over that time. But to get a message out to the northwest of England and the rest of the country, this is a fantastic place to come for food, it's going to take a long time. It's chipping away at it slowly and not expecting miracles overnight. We have lots of meetings. Here's one here. If we can click on that one, that would be great. Picture of us all sat outside. Which is quite nice. Sat out in a courtyard, in a cafe, in a very nice restaurant just down the road, which I would highly recommend. If we can come out of that one. Oh, and there's a hamper. There we go. This is really embarrassing, but it was literally just chosen at random by a coordinator that Clwyd Clwyd paid for. So, and the girl who won it used to be a member of staff of ours, which is a bit embarrassing, but there we go. So if we go back again, and then if you can click on this, this is a symptom of having done a presentation very last minute. I can't actually remember what this is. Oh, it's just another website where we ended up, the travel lowdown. Fantastic. There we go. Okay, so we can move on. I think you might have to go backwards and then, yes, forwards. Super. So why do we do it? Anybody wants to jump in with a question, please do it. Because there are some great people and businesses in the area doing some really good work. And nobody's shouting about it. I mean, I know we got the guys doing the filming here today. They stayed in Ruthin last night. You know, they just said to me today, Ruthin's a beautiful place. We had no idea. I mean, the guys are from Wales and they've been to North Wales loads of times. They had no idea that Ruthin is a beautiful town. You know, we live in a fantastic environment. We live in an area of outstanding natural beauty with some beautiful market towns and some good food. And yet Manchester and Liverpool and Chester are down the road, and those people all look to the Peak District and they go over there. And why not get them over here? That's what we want to do. But unfortunately, we have some not so good examples, or not to be too, a little bit expressive, some poor examples, if not crap. And what will happen is if somebody goes to one of those examples and they get shocking service, or they get shocking food, or even, to be honest, indifferent service and indifferent food, they will not come back. Because those people who live in those areas are used to a very high standard of service and food. They want to know about the provenance of the food. They want to know that the people who are serving them the food are interested, and that they can engage with those people about the story of the food. As was being said by Robin before, it's really, really important. And we don't want those visitors put off. So a lot of the work that we're doing is working and engaging with businesses that are part of the trail and want to be part of the trail on what they do, and trying to help them to raise their game. Doing cookery courses and sharing ideas and meeting suppliers and talking about the kinds of things you could do with their ingredients, that sort of thing. Talking to people about how to use local and seasonal food. What does that mean? You know, what is local food, and you know, where on earth would I get it from? Well, come to one of our meetings and meet a load of the suppliers and talk to some of the other people who on the trail who already use local food. And also, one of the big problems around here is we can get lamb and we can get beef, no problem at all. But getting local vegetables and other things is a bit of a challenge. There are lots of little suppliers who've got like maybe a market garden, but for them to supply lots of individual places is quite hard. However, as a food trail, if we all come together and say, yeah, we want 60 kilos of leeks every month between us, that gives some of the local producers the confidence to go ahead and rent a field, lease a field, and plant it up with leeks. Or that's where we want to get to, and we're starting to engage with some of those suppliers and producers to do that. And we'll go to the next one, I think. I'm going to race through this, and then you're all going to get to go home really early, which is great. So what next? Well, we've got a bit of a funding gap at the moment because we've been using RDP money, or Rural Development Plan money, which has come to an end. But that is a fundamental problem. If the food trail relies on funding going forward, it will just fall apart. We've all seen it. A project gets a project coordinator for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be, and they do all the work. They write the press releases, they organise the itinerary for the journalists, they sort out all the marketing, and they coordinate all the leaflets, and they order everything. Fantastic. Then the funding disappears and they bugger off, and everybody just goes back to panicking about their day job, and it disappears and the whole thing falls apart. This is where the food trail is right now. There is a funding gap. But the difference here is that there are 7 or 8 members of the food trail who are keen and active, and actually they did develop this from beginning to end. They designed it, they booked the photography, they checked over the wording, in fact they wrote the wording, and they did that work. That is really important. It's only a small step, but they actually need to do all of it. They actually need to write the press releases and engage with the journalists and do all that sort of thing. But it's quite hard for people who are in small businesses and trying to run their business day to day. But without it, it all falls apart. And I'm going to get somewhere with this. So an active membership is really, really essential. But also the food trail has to do things that is relevant to the food trail and to the people's businesses. They have to see that they're going to get something out of it. We had a lot of churn, a lot of turnover of membership. We lost a lot of members from the first time round because all they saw was a leaflet and some press releases, and they didn't see anything from it, and that is disappointing. Now we're starting to see things from it. We're starting to see people come, but it will take time. And we're starting to train people and give people an opportunity to meet new suppliers and new producers and get ideas and share recipes and menu ideas. And that's really good. But it's also really difficult because I'm, with my other hat on, I'm doing that. And I'm sat down in a room full of people, and 3 or 4 of them are my direct competitors. They run restaurants and cafes just down the road, and visitors to the area are going to choose to go to them or me if they're only here for a day. And what the people on the food trail have got is a mentality that if it's good here for food, if people come here for food, they will come back and they will come back and they will come back and they will tell their friends and their friends will come back and it will grow. It's no good having one good cafe or restaurant in Ruthin, because once that's full, somebody can't get in, can't get a table, or doesn't know about it and goes to another one and it's bloody awful and they will never come back again. We need it all to be of a good standard, because then it'll be like Ludlow. It'll be chock-a-block and busy, and that's what we want to try and achieve. And it is a change in mentality for some people, and some people just aren't not prepared to do it. They're not prepared to share. And it is a bit weird the first time you hand over one of your recipes or you tell your main competitor about some of your ideas, but we're all doing it, which is good. I'm here today representing a rural regeneration agency, and over the last 6 or 7 years we have spent God knows what, hundreds of thousands of pounds on food projects. I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, the food projects, but there is duplication of effort. I've seen from what's going on and those projects that we funded and projects that other people have funded that there is a huge duplication of effort. We're busy trying to do this in the food trail, and I find out just down the road in Mould, they're doing Chitterslow in Mould, and they've done a Flintshire Food Month, and there's a Flintshire Food Coordinator, and they want to achieve exactly what we want to achieve. And my initial reaction, back with my restaurant hat on, was, well, those buggers are doing the same as what we're doing in the food trail. Well, I don't like that at all. That's what we're trying to do, and they're treading all over our turf, really. And then I thought, no, let's be sensible about this. To somebody coming from Manchester, Ruthin, Mould, Erddig, Wrexham, Glencaidog, wherever it is, it's all the same. There's no big deal to them. It's no difference. It's all within an hour-ish of driving. They don't care whether they come into Ruthin or whether they come into Erddig. They just want to see good food and have a good time and have a good So going forward, probably speaking out of turn here, the Welsh Assembly will probably shoot me on the spot, but we certainly are going to have to try and reduce that duplication of effort and make sure we actually promote North East Wales as a destination. Now that's quite hard because North East Wales historically has been quite a difficult thing to promote because it's not Snowdonia, it's not the Peak District, it doesn't have a catchy geographical title. North East Wales sounds just a bit sort of industrial. So that's what we're going to have to try and think of next, is how we can work with all these other projects that are going so that we're not duplicating effort. Okay. Can't remember what's next. Us. Right. So take my Clwyd hat off and I put my restaurant hat on. Now I know I can see there's some people in here who've been in. I think, is there? Has anybody been into the Cafe Hour at Rithing Craft Centre? A few nods. Oh dear. No, it's all okay. You're over it now. A couple of weeks in hospital. It's all okay. Good. No. So Cafe Hour is a family-run restaurant. Me and my brother and sister. And we actually started making bread in my mum and dad's kitchen about 10 years ago. And we started selling bread at farmers markets, bread and cakes at farmers markets across North Wales and into Cheshire. Totally destroyed my mum and dad's kitchen. Wrecked their oven. We owe them a new kitchen and a new oven, but we still haven't got round to that yet. And it snowballed from there. We ended up opening a coffee shop. We took on the Eagles Bakery briefly in Rithing. And then eventually we won the contract to run the cafe/restaurant at Rithing Craft Centre, which is just down the road for those of you who don't know the area. It's a 92 cover, 92 seat restaurant, fully licensed. We employ 4.5 chefs, four full-time chefs, one part-time chef, 5 full-time front of house, and about 4 part-time front of house, plus the family. So there's quite a lot of staff in a small town in a restaurant. Not as many as Robin, obviously, and we don't pay as much as Robin either. We'd love to, but we don't. And our principle is to cook good food simply on site. So we use local produce wherever possible, and if we can't, we get organic or fair trade. And everything is made from scratch. So we do buy some bread from Eagles Bakery. We make some of our own bread, but we make everything else from scratch. We don't buy in stocks and sauces and stuff like that. We make everything. Make all our desserts, all our cakes, everything on site. And most of the food trail members do the same. Or 90 or 95% of their products are the same as us. And people notice the difference, I think, or I like to think so. And so why did we join the group last year when they opened it up to the hospitality sector? As did, and now the actual membership or the board of Cadwyn Clwyd is entirely made up of people in the hospitality sector, apart from one, Leonardo's Delicatessen, because we want to bring people here and we want to drive numbers coming to our businesses. If we click on the Facebook one, that gives an idea of. And we want to raise the quality of food in the area, and we also want to raise the image of the industry in North Wales. It is shocking how badly it is considered. And Robin hit the nail on the head there, that it is the last resort for people. We had a guy working for us, front of house. He came to us because he messed up his A-levels and he didn't know what to do with himself. And he came to work with us and he was very, very good at the job. And we said to him, why don't you do your NVQs? Why don't you progress? You know, because you're good at this. You could do this. And we showed him that you can do this. You could manage this restaurant and then you could go and work in London or you could go abroad. Yeah, but it's catering, isn't it? It's not a proper job, is it? It's not a proper job. And he's gone off to be a car mechanic after I think you know what I'm talking about. After 4 or 5 years of working for us. So he invested 4 or 5 years in experience and knowledge in the industry, and he was good at it, and customers loved him. And he was depressed the whole time he was doing it because he felt like he was doing a bum job in a bum industry. And that is really sad and really depressing. And no matter how much we told him that it's a fantastic industry and you could travel the world and you could be earning 60 or 70,000 pounds of being a restaurant manager in a big 5-star hotel in the Middle East, the perception amongst his friends and his family was that he was wasting his life. And we need to change that, and that's what we're trying to do, partly, as well as increase the food. So this is our Facebook page. So this is our homemade lemon and chicken sandwich special, made on our homemade bread. A bit of salad there, some homemade coleslaw. I don't know if you can scroll down a bit just to give you a feel. There's some pictures on there. We're not brilliant at this, but we're doing a bit of tweeting, and so we've got a homemade burger on there and a homemade falafel burger, homemade scones. Don't make as many as as Robert. And I was stale by the end of the day, so Marks and Spencer's wouldn't be very impressed with that, because we don't put any preservatives in and stuff. If you can click on that one. There we go. There's some of the team. So this is my dad. So some of you guys worked with him at it was Collar Cambria now, wasn't it? But it was a Llandrillo site. So my dad was a chef since he was 14, 15. He went to do an apprenticeship and he worked in Switzerland and all over the place. A nightmare to work with, though. I'm sure you would agree, yeah?
It's a great guy.
You're a nice son. No, and then this is me, obviously, and then all of these guys here who work for us are all local. They all live Ruthin, Denbigh, and they've all been through the college system, which is, apart from Julie, apart from the restaurant supervisor here, everybody else has been through the college system, which is great. There we go. We'll move away from that one because there we are. So if we come off that one, we can click on the restaurant one, but I don't think it's that important. So, to give you an example of what we've been doing, we used to get our coffee from a company called Miko Coffee. It was nice. Our customers liked it. Any of you drunk coffee in the cafe? No? Yes? It was okay? Yeah, I mean, it's good coffee, and people come back to us week in, week out for the coffee, I think. That's what they tell us anyway. We sell enough of it. But it's coming from the Midlands, which isn't that far away. But a local family, a family that I went to school with, a girl, she's married a chap whose family run a roastery in Devon. And they want to open their own roastery up here. And so if I pass this round, they just start to supply us with some coffee, which we're going to use. It's 5 minutes, yeah, I'm pretty much done. We introduced it without telling the customers because we want to make sure they were happy with it. It's slightly more expensive, and it's going to cost us quite a bit more money over the year than what we would have paid for with Miko. And we've had to find different engineers because they don't have an engineer and they don't supply some stuff, and we'll have to find other people. And it is more awkward to buy our coffee from them because Miko provide the whole package and the whole service, all the bits and bobs that you need. But the difference with that is you feel like you are helping. It's a good product, same as the other one, but you are keeping the money in the area. You're hopefully, in a few years' time, going to help create jobs in the area. And it brilliantly, when you have customers who come to you from away and they're on holiday and you can talk to them about the products and where they come from, they really are interested. They really do engage. They spend ages looking at our blackboard with where it all comes from, and they want to know more about it and if they can go out and see it, which is really what the food trail is about, is making people aware of where it all comes from. And I've waffled on for quite long enough. I'm sorry if it wasn't very coherent, but I was in a bit of a rush to get it prepared, so there we are. I'm going to finish, and any questions are more than welcome. Just to say, before you go, you've got a little bit of a goodie bag, and in there you have got, this is a honey bun, and it's made in Ruthin at the Eagles Bakery. And some years ago there was some talk, some of the older people in Ruthin were talking about honey bun that used to be made in Ruthin, and nobody could remember it, and there were no bakers left in Ruthin, and there was a competition to make them. And Wynne, who runs Eagles Bakery, now makes these and sells loads of them. So you've all got one of those. You've got some pate from Patchwork Pate down the road. You've had the ice cream from Chili Cow. And you've got an award-winning pie from Leonardo's Delicatessen. which is in a fridge out there, but I will make sure they're all there, so when you leave you can pick them up as you go. And every Food Trail member, we have a logo here which I've stamped on this bag. We have the logo, and we have banners, and we have marketing and materials that we can all put on our own websites and our own material to get that message out. And that's what this is about today.